So today I'm sitting in a Leeboy 3000 force-feed belt loader. Pulling shoulders for road resurfacing activity, and it's a pretty straightforward machine. I run it wide open at like 2400 RPMs when we're doing this. There's the parking brake, push to apply, spin to release. Now to shift the drive motor, you got to have the parking brake on. I'm in work low, low. Work low high gets you a couple extra mile an hour. It's nothing too crazy. If I'm gonna try and drive on the main road at like 22 miles an hour or however fast this thing goes, I'll go auto, hold that button forward for a few seconds, and then release the parking brake, and away I go. So I'm gonna put it back into low, and I can feel it clunk in the back end when I put it in low. This is pretty straightforward. This model just has the main conveyor lift and deflector, and depending on the type of material, you can get that stuff pretty far forward if it's drier than this sod that we're working in. With the sod, it doesn't get as far forward as I like, and you got to have this main conveyor all the way in the upright position while you're loading, and I'm constantly looking for power lines in this thing. This helps a lot with getting the material forward, and we'll have to have the truck stop and slam on its brakes going forward, you know, to move stuff around if we're a ways away from a dump site. This part here is pretty straightforward too. Like, before I even get going, you got to put this moldboard lever up in the float position so that those two align. And then what that does is when these feed paddles go around, they only slightly make contact with that shiny surface down there that brings the material up and then onto the main conveyor going to the truck. That's what that's for. And then I lower this conveyor lever all the way to the ground and then pick it up, and I try to kind of feel for it, but float my cutting edge on the bottom there just so it's above the road enough to catch the material and carry it, and maybe leave a little bit of dirt behind, but it's gonna bring the majority of the sod up into the machine here to load. And of course you got to keep an eye on your wings and make sure they're not dragging on the ground. Those will tend to want to catch manhole covers and monuments and stuff like that, or like edges in the pavement where there might be a crack that's running across the road. So there's a few things to look out for. And here's your conveyor. Pull it back towards the rear of the cab, and then it starts it going. And if you got big rocks, you gotta slow this thing down quite a bit, or else it'll beat you to death, and it'll just be slamming rocks up against the back of the cab here. That's why you got this nice cab protector. And this is for the feed chain. And that's pretty much it. Here's a little instructional that I put here. You can pause and look at if you so desire. And then of course on the side there's the Leeboy recommended check. So the big thing with this is there's two main grease points right here and right here up in front for that main shaft for the feed chain. I grease that every day. There's a couple side rollers. There's one right there, and there's one right there. I grease those. And a pillow block right here. And then grease the bearing for that motor. And then there's a pillow block at the very rear of the machine up here that I grease. And the grease point is farther down right behind my cab. You can see it in this little fisheye mirror right about there. And then there's another grease fitting that goes up to the motor up there and greases the bearing for it, for the conveyor. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not a real complicated machine. Anybody with any operating sense whatsoever can jump in this thing and go for it. I haven't really been in this very long, but it's an interesting piece of equipment, and I wanted to spend a few minutes and kind of give an overview for maybe somebody that has never seen one of these before, that is curious about what it's all about. But this is nuts and bolts of it. You can see how that cutting edge there, because of the way the road slopes, it's kind of wearing on it some. And here's the edge I was talking about in there. I have it riding just above the road enough to where it grabs the sod but isn't dragging. And sometimes you just can't help it. It just happens like that. But yeah, anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'm gonna put some video in here that shows me picking up some windrow, so you can kind of get an idea of what that looks like and all that good stuff. One thing I forgot to throw out there is it's different probably between municipalities and all that stuff, but like when a truck is done being loaded, this is just a little phony electric air horn in the back. I'll hit that once and that'll be stop, and then hit it again twice and that's go. But if we're in cul-de-sacs and small streets and stuff, I'll be getting on the CB quite a bit and talking to the truckers and let them know what we got going on. Just keep them from guessing, and it seems like it keeps productivity going. So thanks for watching, and the next clip is going to be of some windrow being picked up. Bye now.